1. Paul Newman's Daytona. We're kicking things off with the absolute holy grail. Paul Newman's personal Rolex Daytona reference 6239. Stainless steel, 37 millimeters with that legendary exotic dial. Inside, you've got the Valjoux 722 manual wind chronograph. Classic tri-compacts layout with 3 subdials for timing, and a tachymeter bezel designed for race car drivers to calculate average speeds. Rolex launched this in the early 60s, trying to break into motorsport, partnering with Daytona International Speedway to give the watch racing credibility. Here's the crazy part. These exotic dials with the Art Deco squares were considered ugly back then. Dealers couldn't sell them, so Rolex discontinued them. Fast forward to 1968. Paul Newman's wife, Joanne Woodward, buys him this exact watch from Tiffany and has it engraved, "Drive carefully, me," on the back. Newman wore it constantly for 15 years, racing cars, on movie sets, doing interviews. And because he was this massive movie star, collectors started calling these exotic dials Paul Newman dials. And suddenly, everyone wanted one. Phillips New York auctioned it in October 2017. Bidding started at $1 million and climbed for 8 minutes straight. Final price? $17.7 million. The most expensive Rolex ever sold at auction. Original retail in '63, $200. Before we continue, drop a comment and tell me, what's your dream watch? 2. The Rainbow Daytona. Complete opposite end of the spectrum. The Rainbow Daytona, reference 116595RBOW. 18-karat white gold, 40 millimeters. And this thing is absolutely insane. The movement is caliber 4030 based on the Zenith El Primero that Rolex completely re-engineered, reducing the frequency for better longevity and extending power reserve to 72 hours. Rolex introduced this in the early 2000s as their ultimate statement piece. And the bezel is set with 36 baguette-cut sapphires in perfect rainbow gradient. Red to orange to yellow to green to blue to violet. Each stone hand-selected and color-matched. Plus, you get baguette diamond hour markers on the dial. Production numbers are secret, but insiders estimate fewer than 25 pieces ever made. And getting one from an authorized dealer was basically impossible unless you'd already spent millions with them. This example came up at Philips Geneva in November 2024 and went absolutely nuclear. Final price, 5.5 million Swiss francs, about $6.3 million, making it the most expensive modern Daytona ever sold. 3. The Stelline. Reference 6062 in yellow gold, 36 millimeters, from the 1950s, when Rolex was proving itself as a serious watchmaker. The caliber 655 inside has automatic winding with triple calendar, full date, day of the week, month windows, plus moon phase at 6 o'clock. Genuinely cutting edge for Rolex in the early 50s. They made these from 1950 to 53 and stopped because the complications were expensive to service. This particular example is nicknamed Stelline, Italian for little stars, because of these applied, star-shaped hour markers in solid gold that Rolex only used on a few hundred watches before abandoning the design. What makes it museum-grade is that it's completely unrestored. Original dial with warm patina over 70 years. Original case with factory finishes intact. Incredibly rare because most vintage pieces from this era have been polished into oblivion. Monaco Legend put this up in October 2025 with estimates around 2 to 3 million euros. It blew past that and hammered at 5.3 million euros, roughly $6.2 million, setting a new world record for the reference. 4. The Unicorn. Reference 6265 Daytona in white gold, 37 millimeters, and this watch should not exist. The caliber 727 manual wind chronograph inside features screw-down pushers for 100-meter water resistance, big upgrade from earlier Daytonas. Rolex launched the 6265 around 1970 and made them almost exclusively in stainless steel, with occasional yellow gold pieces. But white gold? Not part of the catalog, not in price lists. And yet, this watch exists. For decades, collectors have debated its origins. Theories range from one-off prototype to special commission for an extremely important client. But nobody knows for sure, and Rolex's archives have nothing about other white gold 6265Es. The watch stayed with its original owner for 40 years, never serviced, never shown publicly, just sitting in a family safe. When it surfaced, every major Rolex expert examined it and confirmed 100% authentic factory original. Philips Geneva sold it in May 2018. Room packed with collectors who flew in from around the world. Final price, 5.9 million Swiss francs, about $5.9 million. The nickname Unicorn stuck because it's literally the only known example in this metal, genuinely one of one. 5. Big Red, reference 6263 Daytona, stainless steel, 37 millimeters. Same caliber 727 manual wind chronograph with screw-down pushers. This reference ran from early 70s into the 80s as Rolex's main chronograph before they switched to automatic movements. This particular example is called Big Red because of the oversized red Daytona text on the dial. Rolex only did this on very early examples before switching to smaller white text, so it's a first series detail that immediately makes it more desirable. But here's the insane part. This watch is new old stock, purchased new and literally never worn, sat in a safe for 50 years untouched. When it came out, the original Rolex stickers were still on the case and bracelet, plastic protectors in place, even the red hang tag still attached. On top of that, it has a Paul Newman dial with Art Deco indexes. So you're combining three rare factors: Big Red printing, Paul Newman configuration, and totally unworn condition. Philips New York sold this in December 2020, right during the pandemic when the watch market was going crazy. Final price, $5.5 million. Second most expensive steel Daytona ever after Paul Newman's personal watch. 6. The King, reference 6270 Daytona in steel, 37 millimeters. One of the holy grails because Rolex only produced it for about 12 months as a transitional model, somewhere around 69 to 70. The movement is caliber 722 or 727, depending on production timing, and the key upgrade was screw-down pushers, improving water resistance from 50 to 100 meters. Production estimates suggest fewer than 100 pieces total, which makes sense for such a short window. This example is pristine, never polished, so all original case bevels intact. Black bezel still has factory finish, and it's got a Paul Newman dial with sigma marks, those Greek symbols indicating 18-karat gold hour markers rather than just plated. Finding a 6270 with both Paul Newman layout and sigma marks is basically unheard of. The collecting community nicknamed it the King because of how rare it is even within vintage Daytonas. Sotheby's sold it in October 2025. Pre-sale estimate 3 to 4 million. Final price, $5.2 million. New record for the reference. 7. Marlon Brando's GMT, reference 1675 GMT Master, stainless steel, 39 millimeters with automatic movement and GMT function. That 24-hour hand lets you track a second time zone, and the bidirectional bezel with 24-hour markings lets you track a third. Rolex developed this with Pan American Airways in the 50s for pilots flying long-haul routes across multiple time zones. And the red and blue Pepsi bezel made it easy to distinguish day from night hours. This particular GMT belonged to Marlon Brando, and he wore it filming Apocalypse Now in '76 in the Philippines. Brando's character Colonel Kurtz was a rogue officer gone native in the jungle, and Brando felt he wouldn't wear a shiny watch with a colorful bezel, so he literally popped the bezel off himself on set and wore it bezel-less for the entire shoot. You can see it clearly in multiple scenes. After filming, Brando kept wearing it without the bezel for years, and the dial developed tropical patina, fading from black to chocolate brown. The watch stayed in Brando's estate with extensive documentation, including production photos confirming provenance. Christie's Geneva sold it in November 2023. Final price, 4.6 million Swiss francs, about $5.1 million. Records for both a GMT Master and any watch worn in a film. 8. The Emperor's Rolex. Back to reference 6062. Same complicated calendar as the Stelline, but this one's in yellow gold with a black dial. 36 millimeters with caliber 655 automatic, featuring triple calendar and moon phase. What makes this extraordinary is royal provenance. Custom ordered by Bao Dai, last emperor of Vietnam, who ruled from 26 until he was forced to abdicate in 45. The dial has triple signatures, Rolex at top, Serpico e Rey, which was a prestigious Swiss retailer, and three small stars representing the three regions of Vietnam, almost certainly requested by the emperor. The hour markers aren't standard, they're baguette-cut diamonds, definitely a special order since Rolex didn't offer diamond markers on the 6062 in standard catalog. Black lacquer dial is rare for this reference, and somehow survived 70 years in remarkable condition. The watch stayed in private hands after Bao Dai's death, and when it surfaced, the historical significance was immediately recognized. A watch made for an emperor with custom specs referencing his country. Philips Geneva sold it in May 2017. At that time, no Rolex had ever crossed $5 million at auction. This was the one that did it. Final price, $5.1 million. Briefly the most expensive Rolex ever, until Paul Newman's Daytona broke the record months later.